ابعت لي جواب 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 وطمني، ولو ان عتاب 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 لا تحرمني، وابعت لي جواب، ابعت لي جواب، ابعت لي جواب 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 وطمني. رجعوني عينيك لأيام اللي راحوا. In Hebrew it's gonna be البعوني يا بيت يا رامي اللي راحوا، العدل 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 عادتين. Now in Arabic وبعت لي جواب 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 وطمني. It's almost the same thing. Different words, different meanings, but they try to do it similar into the Arabic. It's going to stay on the same scale. It's going to be on the same scale in Hebrew and Arabic. We're using the Arabic as the melodies. We're taking the Arabic melodies. There is also Jewish melodies, but we, the Middle Eastern people, also North Africa, we're taking the melodies from the Arabs and we're putting words, Kodesh words, words that maybe it's going to be not love songs. Jerba, it's an island in Tunisia. This island, it's the most of the people there, they are Kohanim. The family is Kohen. If you heard about my family is Kohen, Yochai Kohen. And Kohanim is the priest that was in the Holy Temple 2,000 years ago. But the culture there is a little bit different from the rest of the Middle East, and also North Africa. It's different in the mentality and different in the culture. There's a lot of different things, but there is a lot of things that is connect, and I don't know why. I'm still searching about it. There is a lot of minhagim. Minhagim is customs that very similar to the Chalabi, the Aleppo minhag. Not to the Egyptian that is more close to Tunisia, not Moroccan that is more close to Tunisia, to Khalib. Now let's talk about the language of the Tunisian. Tunisian, a lot of things, even the Arab people, they took something from the Jewish by the words, and they speaking few words in Hebrew. Nagila, hallelujah, Nagila, Nagila, hallelujah, Nagila, Baziman, 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 Agiola, Baziman, 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 Agiola. الشداي إلي إلي كبت سيدي حيدي داي، الشداي إلي إلي كبت سيدي حيدي داي، وقارش مسناي وقارش مسناي، نفشي بايم قاعلة نقيلة نقيلة هاليلويا نقيلة نقيلة هاليلويا نقيلة بازمان 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 أجيول رحمن 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 حوس العامل المان رحمن 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 حوس العامل المان وشلح لانو تسيرينيمن وشرح لانو تسيرينيمن وشلح لانو تسيرينيمن وشلح لانو تسيرينيمن يسدر شروطه الله نجيلة نجيلة هاليلويا نجيلة بازمان 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 هاجيولا بازمان 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 هاجيولا. Now let's go over this word.
My father's family, they spoke Ladino. They were Bulgaria, Greece, Spanish exiles. Part of the family through Bulgaria, part through Greece, ended up in Jerusalem for about 200 solid years. And they pretty much spoke Ladino as the first language. In Jerusalem, that was the first language of many Jews, including non-Sephardim, for many, many years. And some of their literature even got translated to other languages. I have here somewhere, I have the Mamloes, which is probably the masterpiece of Ladino literature, which is sort of like a collection of agadots of different fables and stuff on the Torah, and it was published originally in 1730 and then finished over many years. So I have a translation of that to Judeo-Arabic. There were translations now down to Hebrew and English, of course, but in Turkey, when you got married, this is what you got your set of Mamloes. Eventually, my grandfather married a Syrian woman, so he learned Arabic and a bunch of other languages along the way, but Ladino stopped there, unfortunately, like with many other people. And my mother's side, the Judeo-Arabic, was what they spoke and still do speak. Maybe in Morocco, they grew up in pretty rural Morocco, in Tafila, on the Algerian border, and they moved to Israel. My great-grandmother still lives there. She's been in Israel for about 40 years. She doesn't speak a word of Hebrew yet, so just Judeo-Arabic. So it's still alive. They're still alive, but the problem with, again, their education was rather minimal. So she speaks Judeo-Arabic, but she doesn't read Judeo-Arabic. She doesn't read period, and she managed just fine, by the way. But she does speak Judeo-Arabic, and that's what the family still speaks. And they were printing pretty much everything. You have translations of Shakespeare and other general literature, and what's interesting to me is translations of Yiddish to Ladino. For example, Gordon's Quetzal Yod, which is a very not religious text, maybe even anti-religious, and it was translated to Ladino. You had at the same time missionaries also translating books to Ladino for their own efforts. So it was very much a living language, but the difference, a major difference between Ladino and Yiddish is that often in the Ladino introductions you'll have like an apology. I'm sorry that we're using Ladino, and it's only because we don't have a choice. In Yiddish, nobody really cared. They were publishing silly tales in Yiddish, and nobody really stopped. Already from the 1500s. Judeo-Arabic at the other end of the world, they had another problem, that there was no real printing houses in North Africa for many, many years, hundreds of years, that were printing any Hebrew type. So there wasn't much going on. Livorno, when they finally got the business connections, we started late 1700s only, first Judeo-Arabic works in real quantities only much later in the 1800s. You have a few, in the nature of things, the other Jewish languages end up in books where they're not really expected. You have, for example, Basel. You have a book printed Sefer HaAruch, which is a Aramaic dictionary of the Bible, of the Talmud, and they have in there many local words and dialects in order to try to get people to understand what the word means. And he has quite a bit of Judeo-Greek in there, Yevonit. So even though he lived in Rome or different Italian towns, he must have had knowledge of the words in Yevonit. So some of his readers obviously were familiar with it. And of course, Judeo-French, you have Rashi, which is a classic text, which quotes it pretty much almost on every other page. You have Judeo-French, and not to be confused with the later Alsatian languages and stuff, right? But there was plenty of that, and I actually have lots of examples of these things. And I started off two different printers together. There were two printers in Amsterdam, Freibusch and Proofs Printing House, and in the middle of the process, they got into some type of argument, apparently not just monetary, about the quality of the work. And so, same year, you have two first Yiddish Bibles. So books survived, and for one reason or another, even during the Holocaust, there are stories of Jewish booksellers who were sort of working underground with the Nazis buying books. So books did survive, and when there was profit to be made, people ensured that. And I mean, books came to America because Jews came to America and they brought their stuff with them. There's plenty of books in America, and there's I mean, I used to travel to buy books, but I realized that sometimes in your own backyard you have literally treasures. This is an interesting book I found talking about how books travel around. This is a book printed in Vienna. It's a Tarkemoni, which is a Spanish poet in Hebrew. German title page. Here is a stamp of the Chief Rabbi Beirut, Atier. There's a signature of Leo Sasson, who was the founder of the first Hebrew printing press in Syria. And he owned this book and wrote some marginal notes. The only time I've seen something of this nature, his marginal notes were in Arabic. So here you got pretty much a whole bunch of different countries and languages all in one little book we've got around, apparently. I probably have here 1,000 books which no library in the world has. So often it's because somebody's grandmother published poetry and just gave it to her grandchildren, but sometimes it's actually rare books or polemics or just stuff written for the times and not intended to be kept. And then there's newspapers and stuff. I have a full run, for example, of Jewish newspaper from Montevideo. And nobody, I don't think, in the world ever had that. I don't even know how I got it, but it's,
where do you go with it, you think?
Well, in my own envisionment, I think down the block this way and down the block that way. It's growing very fast. Yeah, I mean, this part of the building was taken over about 2 weeks ago. As you can see, it's full of books.